Sweet. I
Sweet.
do have another call at 4 o'clock, unfortunately.
All right, let's
Unbelievable.
dive into a little podcasting. What do you guys want to chat about?
Chapter 7.
Yeah, did you guys dive into the future of entertainment?
Just read it. Made some notes.
Nice.
Ooh,
What do you got? Let's hear it.
Guys, I have no idea what you're talking about. Please tell me all about it.
Well, let's see. So, future of entertainment. Where do you think the entertainment industry is going, Jay Houston?
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality, augmented reality.
AR.
That was the big one. So,
XR.
it talks about
Let me
you really got to just.
When people say XR, are they just referring to?
I was just Googling it right now.
XR just means augmented, virtual, however you want to put it, reality. It's like an X reality,
extended reality. XR. Refers to all real and virtual environments generated by computer technology. So it's like XR. Here, I'll share this image. They have a nice little flow chart. XR encompasses.
Got it. So mixed reality, virtual, and augmented. That's what they mean. So it's just variable reality. Okay, that's what I figured.
Gotcha.
Sweet. Yeah, this chapter was just going through Netflix, just killing it, changing the whole game.
Netflix? Why? What are they doing?
Well, they just changed the whole game of, how you consume entertainment. And then their big flip was, going to streaming, obviously changed everything. It talks about this interesting.
Like when
I did the DVD thing, and
I never got into it. I was like, why not just go to Blockbuster?
Let me ask you guys a question. Did you know that Netflix is $14 billion in debt?
Really? I mean, they've been.
Let's think about that.
Spending that much money on content,
and they do $1 billion in revenue a month, and they're $14 billion in debt. So the reason being is because they just get loans for content, so they can stay ahead of the game. And by the way, I still think that they're making trash content. And I think that Disney comes out with the new Marvel stuff, like they're making the new Marvel movies, like spin-offs for every single character, streaming it live on Disney Plus. They are going to smoke Netflix. Disney is coming for them, and because Netflix content is trash unless something like the Tiger King comes out and sweeps the nation because it's so fucking absurd.
It's so absurd.
Seriously, that's like the only reason. But like Netflix is gonna have things that everyone wants to watch, or
Disney Plus.
Yeah, Disney Plus. They're coming. It's just they've been really slow about it. But
yeah, I still subscribe to them, and I kind of exhausted everything I was interested in watching on there, so it's kind of just in the back burner right now.
I love The Mandalorian for sure, and if they can produce anything even remotely that touches The Mandalorian and do that on the Marvel side, keep it consistent, and they will smoke Netflix for sure.
I think they've got a good formula. They have unlimited budget, so really doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, they should technically, right? Because they have exclusive rights to Star Wars, Marvel. You know what I mean? Like they should smoke everyone in online streaming.
Mm-hmm. One thing this chapter got into was passive versus active entertainment, and they were saying how active media essentially these companies are now viewing users as developers because they're giving them so much of this extra data that they can work with. So that shift is already happening. And then I wrote something like, the first companies that start rewarding or paying their users are going to flourish. Like imagine being able to pay your employees, your users of your company, like in a virtual currency that costs you absolutely nothing to work for you. Like imagine being able to lower the minimum wage to pennies, okay, and you can have thousands of more employees just giving you this data.
Makes sense. In a way, is that kind of like how YouTube works, right? It's users upload the content, they get paid from someone else. It's real money, but YouTube is just providing a platform. and the users do
Right.
rewarded. They're getting paid, for having their content.
Yeah. If data is like, king right now, I feel like Tesla should be paying us. Like every mile that we drive, they should be giving us something because they're collecting so much data. And with that data, they're able to monetize it on a scale that is like that amount of data that we feed them puts them so much further ahead of the curve. It's going to make them exponentially so much more money. And it's like, we just give it to them willy-nilly. So like, people have started to bring up the idea of, your data is yours. It's owned by you. Yeah. You should be able to control who gets it, what they do with it. And if they're doing something with it, you need to be compensated for that. That data is now just virtual gold. And, we're just, people are starting to become aware of that.
There should be some sort of platform where you log in, see who's getting your data, what they're getting, where's it going, how you're being compensated, and you should be able to just, all congregated in one area. That should be a thing. That should be a service.
There's some that are close to that. I know there's one that they can search like all of your personal reviews, like whether you got reviews on like your Uber stats, anytime an Uber driver rates you, your Airbnb, Facebook. I don't know how, but like somehow they conglomerate all of these sort of digital footprints on you, and you can ask for a report.
And that's the data that they use to give you like a consumer score, essentially.
Yeah.
And it shows you, it's like it drives companies to like what type of advertisements you see and things like that. Like Ron's score must be like so funny and so skewed towards like, if it's $20 or if it's like less than $50 on Facebook, like he's going to buy it. So like having that information and just being able to feed Ron's Facebook with sub $50 items, like you just make money every time. And knowing that, just like, free money.
Mm-hmm.
Talks about the holodeck in this chapter, where everything is starting to converge, where it's going to be basically smell-o-vision, touch, taste, like pretty much everything is converging at this point now, where the holodeck is now a real thing, and it's just getting even better.
Yeah, which company was that was working on the holodeck?
What if the universe is a holodeck? Somebody told me really, yeah, we're in a simulation, but it's not a computer. It's something else, like where you like access it.
Yeah. I think that company is called Lightfield Lab.
Lightfield.
They're the ones that are coming up with these tiny little cubes. It's able to generate trillions of photons, but right now their display is only like 4 by 6 inches. But it's capable of projecting a holographic images about 2 inches thick, viewable from any area 30 degrees wide. So now they're figuring out how to combine these cubes into an entire room. And basically, if you're standing in the right spot, you should be able to these photons essentially just hit your eyes, that are just sensors, and produces this holographic image of anything that you want.
There was So every Thursday I have a call with one of the I met him at a conference, Science of Consciousness conference, and he does like quantum physics, and he wrote a paper on living in a hologram. And
can we get this guy on? What?
Yeah, I'll mention it to him on Thursday. Let me I'll send you guys this article as well. But here's what he wrote. His name is Sky Nelson. Living inside a hologram, holograms, quantum mechanics, and choices, math of the matrix. I'm trying to find. I watched one of his YouTube videos.
Super into this.
That was yeah, okay. So I'll send you the YouTube video that he did on this, because it kind of helps explain it a little bit more, but like how to create a hologram and how like holograms work, and just he goes really in depth on the math behind just all of our choices.
Cool.
Emailed it to me. So.
Sky. His name's Sky Nelson. This is him right here.
Yeah, Sky Nelson.
Dude, shoot him an email.
I like how he has this one diagram of like, you know, think about like the sunlight coming from the sun, and you know, each of those is like its own individual photon, and like think of the ones that like touch your skin and just kind of retrace, you know, the path that they must have gone through, you know, from light years away from the sun to like, you know, branch off, hit a dust particle or something, and then it like reflects off, and then, you know, those are the ones that end up touching you.
You heard, maybe one of you brought this up before, but there's like that theory that the photon actually does not exist unless it connects with another, or like a receptor. So like, even though you're looking at starlight that's 10 billion miles away, it was always meant to hit your eye. Do you know what I'm talking about? Is this the same kind of thing that this guy does? That's what they talk about, like in the holographic universe, like that book. It's kind of like the same concept.
Yeah, this is a 4-minute video. You guys want to check it out?
Sure. Fire away.
I think this is it.
How real is the world around you? Is it possible that the real world you experience every day exists in the same way that a three-dimensional image appears to exist on a hologram? I'm trained as a physicist and educator with a master's degree in physics. Here, I'll explain what this might mean based upon my own work in quantum mechanics.
Can you put the CC on?
We live in a hologram. The world may be less like a lifeless stage and more like a...
What? Can you put the captions on so people can see it and read it? Yeah. Yeah, you go.
Responsive, choose-your-own-adventure video game. Rather than worrying about losing or winning, the art of making choices becomes about up-leveling your skills to meet the next level of challenge. To understand what I mean, let's first talk about what a hologram is. A normal photograph captures a faithful, one-to-one representation of an object. When you look at it, you see each color on the film just where you would see it on the object. If you tilt the film, the image stays glued to its surface. But you can't just shine light on your retina and expect to see something. Everything would wash out. You have a lens in your eye for just this reason. The lens decodes the light entering your eye into a discernible image. To create a hologram, we don't use a lens at all. We simply capture the light in its natural, washed-out state. But we do something special. We bounce a single color of light off the model of the city, and we mix it with a pure version of that same light from a mirror. When it hits the film, a pattern occurs which is totally unique to the city. When you look directly at a hologram, all you see are complicated interference patterns. What you see bears no resemblance to the image that is encoded into the interference patterns. Yet when you shine a laser through a hologram, an image suddenly appears as if it's floating behind the film. The image appears extremely realistic. You can view it from many angles. In a photograph, you can say the image is stuck to the film. In a hologram, this isn't true. The image shifts over the film as you change your perspective. Notice how the location of the buildings near you move across the film from one corner to the other. The interference pattern stays glued to the film as it tilts, hardly visible, but the image of the 3D city moves relative to the film. After all, think about what makes something appear 3D. If you move your head, the scene you're looking at shifts in a strange way. This is called parallax. You understand the scene as three-dimensional because some parts of it move differently from other parts. taller building appears closer simply because its pixels move faster. All that is changing is the relative positions of pixels on your retina. But you understand this to mean that you're looking at a 3D scene. Now, a hologram doesn't use a lens. It can capture all the information about the exact light pattern bouncing off the city. Then, when you shine a laser on the film again, you see the same light pattern that you would see if the city was actually there. So the key feature of a hologram is the manner in which an image appears and moves across the field of view. It does so because in light's natural, lensless state, the pixels get totally mixed together. Information about every part of the city exists in every part of the interference pattern on the film. In the next videos, we'll dive into this extraordinary feature of holograms and what it may tell us about choice in the real world.
Sick. Love it. Love how they're applying it to something that you can use every day, like in your life. Like, oh my God, I need more of this. Can we? 25 views? Are you kidding me? This guy's getting robbed. This is so, holy crap. 380. This guy. Look, we got this guy.
It's unlisted right now.
Oh my God.
That's why I couldn't find it. I had to go back into the email that he sent me.
Oh, tell him we think he's getting robbed, and we need to get him on here.
I like that one quote with like, the information of every part of the city is in every part of the interference pattern. I was like, it kind of blows my mind just trying to think about how that actually works.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Dang.
So holograms. So yeah,
holograms.
Light stage is another one.
They had one of these at the conference I went to in San Francisco. Like it was just like it actually looked like an Amazon Alexa, like the TV one, like this thing, you know? But inside of it, it was just a crystal. But then there was just like people dancing inside. You know what I mean? It was like it was like a 3. You're like, what the hell? Like as you moved, it was pretty nuts.
You posted that. That looked dope as hell.
Or your mic's messing up. I'm not sure why. You try to talk closer to it.
You better now.
No.
It's like choppy again.
I don't know what's going on.
Gotta roll up that. Are you messing with the bass settings or?
Let me see. How about now?
That's good.
Interesting. It doesn't like, when you go through it. Like I was trying to mute myself on Zoom and then it was like, I don't like when you come back. So
cool. At least we're getting things out now.
Oh, holograms, man. That's an interesting topic. Like how can we really use them like in the future? Have you seen, oh my God, I'm pulling this up. Hold on.
Yeah, I think we definitely want to get Sky Nelson on to talk about holograms because he would definitely know a lot more about it.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got something to show you. Oh, here it is.
Dynamically work with your Webflow data.
Oh, Webflow.
Webflow.
Oh,
Are you on that?
That's what you're doing.
So this is it. Is it like a use for holograms like in the real world?
Visual road safety.
Look at that shit.
In this animated video shared by Japanese graphic designer Takayuki Yoshida, we see a
What's going on?
It's just life stamp, Jay.
It's so sick.
Look itself coming to life with color digital signage. In another video shared by @hatcats on Twitter, it shows that these holograms could be customized with phrases like
crosswalks.
I mean, that's amazing. There's another one, hologram in subway tunnel. Dang.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense that like this chapter is also talking about like the contact lens that's basically going to just, be augmented reality. The windshield of your car will be the same thing where, when you're looking at it, it might not even be a windshield anymore. It just might be some type of screen or something that shows you what it wants to show you, but it's not really what's going on outside.
Yeah. You guys watch Westworld?
I watched the first season.
I've watched season 1.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little. I don't know. I feel like it takes a while for it to pick up, but
Yeah.
season 3 is where things get crazy.
Okay, I've been seeing a couple previews.
It's good.
Like yesterday, and it's much better than season 1 and season 2 so far. I mean, I just saw the first episode.
That is exciting. I know Elon Musk's ex-wife is in it. You know,
his ex-wife is in.
Yeah, she's in the first one. She plays like the fembot. That's like, what's her name? He's married, divorced her twice.
They like.
Yeah, she's. I'll show you a picture real quick.
The welcome bot.
Tallulah Riley is her name. Yeah, Tallulah Riley, Westworld. Here, we'll pull her out. It's like this one.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking.
Yeah. Is she still in it, or is she like dead?
She's got a very small role, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what. I think she was in season 2 still. She popped up briefly in season 2.
I can't remember what happened in season 2, but I might have to dive back in it because I really love the concept of Westworld a lot.
Yeah, I was rewatching season 1 and 2 before going on to season 3, and it's taking me forever to get through season 1 and 2 again. I was like, kept falling asleep.
Oh no.
Yeah. You know, I had the idea of like the NPCs thing is really interesting to me. You know, non-player characters, like when you play like an MMORPG. And I was thinking like, I've been doing all this stuff about how to optimize yourself in the morning, reach your powerful self as opposed to, your primal self. And I was thinking like, oh my God, it's almost as if there's different brain states, right? There's like theta state, alpha state, beta state. Beta state is, shorter wavelength, higher amplitude. And it's really when you're being like affected by your environment. You're in a beta state, right? Because you're prone to more anxiety, things like that. When you're in an alpha state, it's when you're controlling the environment, you're calm, you're thinking clearly, it helps with creativity. And I was thinking like, oh my God, it's almost as if when we're in beta state, we become the NPCs, right? It's because it's like, so there's like a player inside of you and an NPC inside of everyone, and you're just on autopilot with the entire world affecting you until you go into that alpha state, right? Which is, I thought about this yesterday. I was looking forward to talking to you guys about it. Corey, tell me I'm not wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about this. That
makes sense.
We're all on autopilot until you slow it down, achieve alpha state, breathe. It's interesting too, like taking over your body is so easy by just focusing on your breathing, right? It's almost like you're like in this machine that's on autopilot, but then you like take it over because you start focusing on yourself and like, oh my God, it's
becoming aware.
Somebody has had to write a book about this at some point, right? Like
the NPC effect.
About the NPC effect.
I like it.
And just the fact that our brains give off these frequencies when we're in a state of mind, that's trippy, right? Like we're literally just like a machine. It's like, oh, you're on autopilot. Oh my God, look at this virus. And you like meditate and you're just like, yeah, I'm fucking owning shit. What is it?
My slight little research on the brain waves.
Gamma, beta, delta, theta, yep.
Is the hertz. And then they say you're in flow when you're like somehow in between the alpha and theta.
Yeah.
And then once you couple a gamma wave, that's when you hit like a eureka moment. A new neural net is formed.
Whoa. What is going on here?
This is from a pretty interesting book called Mapping Cloud 9. It's by the co-author Stephen Kotler of The Faster is Future Than You Think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another cool book.
Yeah, I mean, just taking a step back and thinking about it, like, God, our bodies are literally just machines. Like, we're literally just giving off frequencies. It's literally the brain. Everyone has a well-known fact. The brain is an electrochemical device, right? we're giving off these frequencies. We go to a state of mind, and you can control that frequency. Whoa, like, come on now. Like, that just blows my mind. So like, why would, it's like, the only reason you wouldn't go to like attempt to go to alpha state multiple times a day is because your environment is affecting you too much that you don't even have like the capacity to realize it. You know,
your environment is controlling you.
Dude, meditation is what is up. I keep, you know, I started meditating daily, and what I think is happening to me is that I'll legitimately start to feel like some form of like anger, and I'll be like, whoa, what? I'll literally like laugh at myself. Like, what are you thinking, doing? Like, what, you're gonna let that take you over right now? It's really interesting. It's for me, you know, it's crazy. I would say the hardest part is for me, like when I get excited about something. It's hard for me to bottle that, you know? So like I love sharing it.
Meditation and I get up.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, it's infectious. I gotta like share it. For me, and it's weird. Like if I'm meditating, I get excited about an idea. I literally can barely control myself from getting up from meditating, going writing it down and start working on it. I'm like, Jay, you're just excited.
Yeah.
That's excitement. Bottle it up. Bottle it up.
I have to get better at that.
Unleash it. Wait, what'd you say?
I said I have to get better at that. That's when I cut my meditation short, is when I get like overly excited and I have to get on the computer.
That's actually like the most important time to like continue.
Yeah.
My problem is like then I get worried that I won't remember what
that's why I just jump up and do it immediately, because I'm scared I'm gonna forget it.
You know what Joe Rogan does? He goes into the float tank like this with something hard for 90 minutes, and he puts his thing on the dock or like to the side of the float tank. So when he has an idea, he's just like, "Hey Siri, take this note," and then he goes back. I was like, "That's pretty good." Yeah,
that'd be helpful.
Don't worry, it'll be an AI soon enough, where you just have this AI companion that's just following you, predicts your thoughts, your feelings, your mood. There was a part of this chapter where it was like, imagine having like this horrible day, and then when you get home, the AI has like all these, you know, things waiting for you at your house that you didn't even know that would make you happy, but it's seen how you reacted to it in the past, and then it like puts you in this new mindset where now you're going to be able to, like, you had an argument with your wife, now you're going to be able to talk to her in a much better mood, resolve your issues and stuff. And it was just, a lot of this stuff was this reference to like our AI, like we're just going to have this Jarvis kind of with us at all times. I think that's going to be a super big business and industry, is like creating, that's the ultimate character creation. Like, how long does it take you to make a character in World of Warcraft? And there's like, you know, there's thousands of permutations, but like, you know what you like, and you know what, you know, oh, I'm going to pick this face, I'm going to pick this color hair, I'm going to pick, you know, that stuff. Imagine how long it's going to take you to create that. Days, weeks.
We're doing it right now. Like, if you have an Alexa in your home, you know, Amazon can, just based on your buying history, Amazon can predict literally everything you're going to buy for like the next 2 years. They have so much data on this that they literally just classify you within like an 80% like accuracy range. They just know everything you're going to purchase. So that's why they'll just start throwing things up there that you didn't even know that you were going to want, just based on like timelines and all this. That's nuts. You combine that with the fact that they're recording everything right now in this conversation with this little device next to me. We're literally training. We're like literally training a baby AI right now. That's all we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And Corey's right. Alexa is going to turn into this little thing that's just like floating behind you all the time. Goes and charges itself, comes back, like, taking pictures of you.
I mean, they already have the earbud little pieces, you know. Just
right. That
Alexa to that, and
or they're talking about these sensors that, you know, it's going to be collecting even more crazy data, like the chemicals in your brain, you know, how that's affecting your mood, and like how they're going to be able to just show you things that change the chemical composition of the, you know, things being released in your brain to make you feel better, and being able to track that, have sensors for that. That's going to be nuts.
It's going to bring up a lot of privacy issues. How do we control that data, and then for people who want to be transparent?
Speaking of which, on this topic, how do you guys feel about that? For me,
that was in the survey yesterday.
Yeah,
I took the survey, Justin. There was a couple questions in there about that.
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Transparency versus privacy.
But for me, I'm like, yeah, man, dude, take what you can. Like,
yeah, I'm like, the more data I can give you, so that you can tell me better suggestions.
Just showed up on my door. now. Thank you, because I did click some button 4 months ago. I had no idea. Thank you for all this. Dude, like I feel like they're doing us a favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I answered all the questions.
Yeah.
Far skewed to, I'll give you whatever you want. You should be able to do whatever you want for the advancement of humankind. I don't care what it takes.
Unless you're really trying to like do something like it's either like super sketchy or super like greedy. I don't know whatever it is. Like you shouldn't give a fuck, you know, because they're really just trying to make your life better.
Yeah, it's like we help you, you know, help each other, help each
Exactly. If eventually things are going to get to the point, and there's going to be so many companies out there just illegally collecting data without your knowledge, to the point where you're not going to be able to control it at a certain point. So I say, just sign up, just drink the Kool-Aid now, and just give them as much data to advance them as fast as possible, because they're going to do it. They're going to get to that level at some point anyways. It doesn't matter. So would you think you have like these rights to your privacy? That's going to evaporate very quickly. Or you can choose to literally live off the grid in the middle of nowhere. Good luck. Enjoy.
Yeah, it can be your choice. Some people choose to do that,
and that's totally fine. If you want to do that and you don't want to be involved, but you just want to have your full privacy, enjoy, but don't expect to live in downtown Chicago and not have them know exactly where you are at exactly every single moment, what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're looking at, who you're talking to, what you're talking. They know everything. It doesn't matter. Like, they already know. They're already collecting this data. They've been collecting this data for over 50 years. Like, people think this is like new thing, like Dragnet, and like, oh, you know, the stuff Snowden blew the whistle on. They've been doing that stuff since before like the 70s. You know, there's been machines tracking if you said the wrong combination of words and phrases. Yeah, you ended up on a list somewhere, and some poor guy at the FBI had to sit there and go through a printed out list. Now it's just an AI robot that just shows you, yeah, that guy's dangerous. You should definitely look out at what that guy's doing. Yeah. I feel comfortable that, like, what I'm doing, I could literally care less if it was broadcast on a public news channel 24/7. I don't give a shit.
To me, I agree with you, because that's really what I'm the happiest, right? Throughout, like, I'm 34 now, I would say, like, whenever my thoughts and actions and words, like, all align, that's usually when you're the happiest. You don't have to, like, worry about, like, what you're hiding or anything like that. It's just all out there. It's like,
right.
And that's also when you achieve flow state more. You know, it's the whole concept of, you know, Dostoevsky, he talks about that in Crime and Punishment. It's like, if you do something and you think that you got away with it, you really didn't, because you have no idea how that affects your subconscious. Like, for instance, like, somebody kills his wife, but he gets away with it for 20 years. But what ended up happening where he got away with it, where he got to this point, you know, where it fucked him up so badly? Anyway, I think about that often. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's better to just not even deal with it. It's, you know what I mean? It's like it's not worth the knock on the door, or, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yep. Just be a good person. Just goes back to, it's very simple.
You're helping yourself. You know what I mean? You're helping yourself when you do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Justin, do you have another call, or?
I do, but I could push a little bit. It's not like it's a group call, and I can just join in when I want to.
Okay.
When I turn at the end, but yeah, it goes on till 5, so I can hop in on the later end of the train. But it makes me think of you know, the all-seeing eyes in The Great Gatsby, and just like how the idea of you're being watched, your every move makes you a better person, because you're gonna do things that, you know, that appear better. And,
yeah.
You know, we should also look at this from the complete other end of the spectrum, for sure. Like, the main reason why people don't want everything known about them is because they're worried it'll be like a 1984 type situation where we've given so much power over to the powers that be that we're just completely powerless, and, you know, they can just literally control every aspect of our lives without us even knowing it. Like, if they technically, there could be some sort of AI already controlling the flow of information in each individual person's personal devices. For instance, like the last election, like Russia, all these like fake accounts that you thought were real because they just used AI to tap into different echo chambers. You know, we have no idea. I mean,
what's going on right now. Maybe the AI is running an experiment. Hey, let's just see, does this work? Does a pandemic work?
Yeah.
Let's just release something out there and, oh, look, this is working quite well to control. Oh, look, they're staying in their houses. Great, they're feeding me more data. I can listen to now every single thing that they're talking about and thinking about. Yeah.
I'll pull something up really quick.
Yeah, it could already be here. We have no idea. It's just going to accidentally launch some missile somewhere by accident. There starts a war. So
AI is a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. In a way that fully autonomous, stress. So that has absolutely crushed the world's best player. And you can see more and more coming up, like robotics. You can see robots that.
Here we go.
You say, well, what harm could a deep intelligence in the network do? Well, it could start a war.
Wait, he's saying, what harm could an AI or a deep intelligence in the network do? Like, what possible harm could it do? And he's about to explain it. Elon Musk is right now talking to every governor in the United States. He's basically calling for
regulations on AI.
He's calling for government oversight on AI before it gets out of hand. Basically, he's calling for the government to go inspect Google and watch over it because he thinks it's dangerous, right? So he's saying, people are like, well, what possible damage could it do? And this is him pleading his case to like every governor in the U.S.
By doing fake news and spoofing email accounts and fake press releases, and just by manipulating information. The pen is mightier than the sword.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
If you had an AI that was where the AI's goal was to maximize the value of a portfolio of stocks, one of the ways to maximize value would be to go long on defense, short on consumer, start a war. And then how could it do that? Well, hack into the Malaysian Airlines aircraft routing server, route it over a war zone, then send an anonymous tip that an enemy aircraft is flying overhead right now.
Simple.
I think the first order of business would be to gain insight. Right now, the government does not even have insight. And I think the right order of business would be to stand up a regulatory agency, initial goal, gain insight into the status of AI activity, make sure the situation is understood. Once it is, then put regulations in place to ensure public safety. It won't, because it has Boeing moved to China? Nope. Boeing aircraft here. Same with on cars. And so it's the notion that if you establish a regulatory regime, that companies will simply move to countries with lower regulatory requirements is false on the face of it, because none of them do. Once there is awareness, people will be extremely afraid, as they should be.
So he's talking about Google because he sleeps on Larry Page's couch like once or twice a week, and they have conversations, like very high level conversations, and he knows. He also talks about I think it's in the other Code Conference interview where they ask him, they're like, well, how many companies out there do you think that we should be afraid of? He's like, there is only one. Like, is it Google? He said, there is only one. And like there's nobody else it could be, because really what Google is doing is they literally have the thought process of mankind based on their search queries, right? There's like 100 millions of search queries, so they know what everyone's looking for. Think about it. COVID-19 comes up and it just shows how we like generally move like a flock of fish. And that's literally like going to become the AI's like brain of like how it thinks and how human beings think. And he thinks that there's something going on where it's just going to be so fucking terrifying that, oh my God, can you just imagine? And nobody's even close. Think about it. Really, no one's even could be close to Google. The same way that no one's gonna be close to Tesla and automated driving, right? Because they just have so much data.
It's data, baby.
It's like a living organism, right? Because it's constantly coming in and they're constantly playing with it. Anyway, something to think about.
It's a cool topic that Westworld touches in on at the end of season 2, beginning of season 3. Not any spoilers. It's, I guess, kind of like imagine like every human can be distilled down into like a single book. Like all your choices, everything that you do, your actions, your life.
Yeah.
And then imagine an AI that can read every single book on every single human. And now they like have this major algorithm that can predict anything. And they have like loops for humans, and they know what you're going to do based off what you've done. And
tell you what, combine my search history with my Amazon purchase history and like where I drive to, who's in my phone. They probably have so much data. The AI has so much data, they could probably just like simulate me. You know what I mean? They could probably just start something else. They don't even need to upload me, right? Because they know everything about me. Like, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Who knows what type of simulations they're running? What does that look like? What does their box look like with the simulations going on in it? It's like essentially they would be creating another multiverse, at their fingertips, where they're just playing out all these different permutations. What happens if you made a left turn instead of a right turn there? Let's just run that, and let's run that till he dies. Let's run that for 100. But we can do it in a millisecond. Oh, cool! That changed his life. Like boom. Oh, okay. Well, let's see what that does. And getting wild.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins in this chapter talked about how he's already developing like his own AI, and
got his own Jarvis Light.
He has Jarvis Light. He said when he has it talk, his wife can't tell if it's him or not. That's how good it is. It's passing almost some type of Turing test.
I'll bring up the company called Lifekind.
Yeah.
And they're basically taking all of the content that Tony Robbins has ever produced, and
it just has so much,
Yeah, and from that, this AI can recreate new content as if it was Tony Robbins, and it's not like looking up previous content of Tony Robbins and like
creating new content,
literally creating new stuff.
So like deep fake and stuff like that, where you should technically be able to turn on the Tony Robbins channel in your home, and it'll be a personalized message for what's going on in your life, what type of mood you're trying to get into. He's going to be like your personal life coach, but he'll be able to do it anytime, anywhere, and in any different way that's just tailored to you. And you won't be able to tell if it's him or not. You won't be able to discern.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think Peter Diamandis said that they're working on a version of him as well.
Whoa.
Super dope. I wrote
cool.
Unlimit your potential. So like
it's like an AI of you to help people.
Memories, your behaviors. Yeah.
Everything.
Which is why, like, one of the reasons why when we started doing this, I was like, oh, this is, I'm glad we're doing this podcast, that it gets some, recordings of myself that I can look back on one day.
It helps.
Yeah.
Like if I go and review like some of these podcasts, it helps me be more aware of myself, for sure.
True.
Sure. Absolutely. What do you guys think about the idea that like AI will finally allow us to be in more than one place at the same time? Has never been possible, and it almost defies the laws of physics on like a super basic level. If it's doing stuff like that, where you're able to be
personas, where you can be in multiple digital places.
Yeah. So like Tony Robbins is going to be everywhere all the time. Once he gets his, I'm okay with that too. Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like AI is definitely the key to us unlocking and breaking physics. It's going to figure out how to do it first. If you want to travel faster than the speed of light, let me just learn about how to do that. Oh, this is how I would do that.
I can't help but think about the movie The Matrix when people talk about this, and think about the time frame where they decided to let you live your life is on the pinnacle of humankind before we created an AI, right? And it's kind of like, hypothetically speaking, crazy talk. Like, let's just imagine, like when you were born, that started the simulation, right? And the timeline that you live out is you just from the birth of computers to the creation of a singularity where they say, would you like to upload into the simulation and start over? Dink, and then you start over. You know what I mean? So it's like almost like it's built into the framework. You know, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Interesting timeline of all the time, 14 billion years. Like this is the time where we're choosing. You know what I mean? It's just like it's one hell of a goddamn coincidence. You know, that's all I'm saying. Along with all the other stuff. So it's just, oh yeah, AI will be here in 2030, 2040. Oh, it's kind of a weird timeline where I'll be like 65 and I'll be able to decide if I'm going to get uploaded computer and start over.
Yeah. You'll probably have the capital to do it. You'll be in a position where you'll have made the money to make the decision. And you'll be able to do it. You'll have access to it.
Loop, you know, then you play out a slightly different variation of your life. How cool would that be? Oh, what if I didn't do this at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Are you saying starting over from birth?
Yeah, from when you're born. Yeah, it's like
instead of like cloning yourself when you're about
to
no.
It's really just like running a simulation over where like you become aware, in a new body, but it's you. Maybe it could even be like not even you, but you're just like a different person living a different experience, or maybe it's one giant consciousness that just wants to like experience everything as much as possible and gather as much data. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the latter, where
have you seen the
consciousness is everywhere?
Have you seen the Rick and Morty, where it's
every Rick and Morty?
Yeah. So where he has like a relationship with like an entire civilization that has one hive mind. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, and so he shows up, it's like imagine like a planet Earth, but they all have the same brain, but it's just like a virus that took over the whole planet. So he's like, yeah, okay, I want to have sex with 400 blondes in the stadium while people are feeding me hot dogs. You know what I mean? It's just like, because he can control the whole civilization. It's an interesting idea. That's an interesting way to play because it's, anyway, yeah, it's an interesting way to play it for sure.
I like this. Justin, did you see this thing at the end of this chapter about these EEGs? And there was this guy he created
to like control games.
Yeah. This company is doing like brain-to-brain communication networks that allow people to interact via their thoughts. Are these electroencephalograms?
Virtual human interaction lab.
Yeah, and then like right at the bottom of page 141, it talks about this Richard Ramchurn. He released this 27-minute short film. It's entitled The Moment, and it's custom built to be watched while wearing this $100 EEG headset. And then the contents of the film, the scenes, the music, the animations, they change every time you watch it based entirely on what's going on in your head. I want to get this $100 EEG thing. We can expense that for sure. I want to find that and watch this film.
I have a picture of me in this thing on the right side at Transtech. I told you guys.
Oh yeah.
And when I would focus on it, I could move the mouse cursor up, and when I was relaxed, it would go down.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool. It cost like $15,000. It's pretty.
Yeah, I have one guy. I just met him yesterday, and we had a call today, and we have another one tonight at 10 o'clock. And he has a neurotech where he's using like a $200 EEG, and they have it programmed to like, just do basic things like, control the mouse up and down, turn the light switch on, turn it off, control the thermostat, just with your thoughts. So things are coming out where we can just use our mind and have a scanner to interface with it.
Yeah. 10 o'clock? What kind of meeting time is that?
Yeah, it's just, I said 9:30, 10. I have a call at 8 o'clock, and
grinded maybe.
How long it's gonna go. Yeah, it's gonna be a late night tonight.
Roy, did you watch have you watched that Neuralink thing?
I don't believe so. Which thing?
Neuralink has one video they released of basically Elon Musk just showing off what they've done so far in like recruiting. It's like 30 minutes long, I think. I recommend checking it.
I've only watched the one about they developed like the stronger, much skinnier like needle for doing the implant. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the Neuralink launch event?
Like the presentation.
The 18-minute one?
Yeah, I think that would be it.
Gotta check that one out. I remember when Neuralink first came out, and I put in an application. Never heard back. But
Yeah, that's right.
This is what I want to do in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, Elon was talking, like in the middle of the presentation, Elon's like, the scientists are trying to be very politically correct about what they say. And Elon's just like, guys, we put this thing in a chimp's brain and he can control the mouse with his mind. You know, he's like, that's what we did. We did that. You know what I mean? And they're all like, ooh, Elon, stop, wait.
Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of
there were some interesting questions on that survey yesterday, Justin, for sure.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of
definitely about like morality, Jay. One very basic question is like, dude goes to the supermarket every day, buys a live chicken, he fucks the chicken, and then he cooks the chicken and eats it. Is that morally wrong, or is it okay for him to do that?
That's not okay.
I was on the not okay side of that one.
Yeah.
I'm just curious as to there were some interesting ones.
I didn't create the questions, but like when I took the survey myself, I
gotta take
do a double take on that question. Like, what did I just read?
I'm curious as to why they're asking that question. Like, what's the argument? Who's arguing for? Yeah, that's totally fine. You know what I mean? Like, what's the argument there?
I'm curious too. I'm gonna ask him on our call when we go over the results, but
it's maybe just like a filter, right? Because maybe there are some people who are like, well, if nobody saw him do it and he killed it and ate it, then no, it looks like it never happened. You know what I mean? You know,
I thought it'd be like some sort of control question, maybe to kind of like
test whether
yeah, to see if they're actually reading
or something.
The survey.
Yeah. Now there's you'll see there's stuff in there to protect against that, which was cleverly done, I thought.
Yeah, I like that.
Interesting stuff though, for sure. But I was definitely on the, take whatever you need to get it done side of things.
Yeah.
Could care less.
Chicken question that everybody was asking me about the chicken.
What the hell is this? Because it was like one sentence. It was like, dude goes to the supermarket, buys the chicken.
Asked, like, is the chicken alive or is it dead?
It clearly meant that he did that before he cooked and ate it. So it's definitely interesting for sure. So yeah, I'm curious to see what the results yield. I put my name and email to get the results after. You know how many you've gotten so far, or I'm sure you'll find out when you talk to him.
I know over 40 people that like have
said, "Hey, I did
directly,
it."
like I did it, and then some people have. One of my friends, he's in a neurosurgeon program. He sent it to like 17 other medical students, and
said send it to 5 other people. Yada yada.
Said that they would send it to more people. So I'm pretty positive that we'll have the 100 sample size like by the end of the week.
Oh yeah, if not tomorrow or something. I can imagine it permeating very quickly. So
yeah, my goal was to have it done today. So I'm going to check in with him to see. I don't have access to like the backside yet. So
got it.
He said he would update me on what the progress is looking like.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good spot to end it for today, and then thanks again on Friday. Any last lingering thoughts? Or?
Any ideas of something you want to all maybe take a look at so we can discuss on Friday? Or anything from that book?
I'd say we just pick another chapter, in the book. Yeah. I'll look through and see kind of what. Or Justin, you've made it through the book a lot more than I have.
Yeah, I'm on.
Other chapters that really stood out to you?
I like the healthcare one was my sort of favorite. Healthcare, then it talks about longevity.
Okay. So that's chapter 9, The Future of Healthcare.
Okay.
Page 151.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
I'll definitely read that one. And
10's a short chapter, but it kind of piggybacks off of chapter 9. So it's like
okay.
healthcare and longevity.
Okay.
Okay. A little chapter 9 and 10 action. And then hopefully you guys have your sweet microphone setups by then.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. I just watched this real simple video on YouTube of this guy who was like, okay, just download these 2 plugins. Here's how you can kind of just help your sound specifically for this thing. So
Cool.
yeah,
That sounds great.
worked out pretty good.
Send it over. Check it out.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. We'll see you on Friday.
Fellas, peace. Take care.
Bye.